Beloved soul, pause right here. Do not scroll. Do not rush past this moment, because this is not just a message you are hearing. This is a moment your spirit has been waiting for. There comes a time in life when loss does not knock politely. It breaks the door. A time when life does not take one thing at a time. It takes everything. Your peace, your security, your sense of direction, even your understanding of God. And in that moment, the most dangerous question rises. If God is with me, why did this happen? When life begins to strip you, you did not lose everything at once. First, it was something small, something you thought you could recover from. Then something bigger, something that shook you. Then something that broke you. And suddenly you realized, this was not a phase. This was a collapse. The plans you trusted failed. The people you leaned on disappeared. The future you imagined no longer existed. You still woke up. You still breathed. But inside, something felt empty. You prayed, but the words felt heavy. You believed, but the faith felt tired. And God says gently, I saw the moment you almost gave up. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, when hope felt like too much effort. The pain no one saw. People may have seen you smiling. They may have seen you functioning. But they did not see the nights when your chest felt tight. They did not hear the prayers you whispered without confidence. They did not know how close you were to breaking completely. There is a special kind of pain that comes when you did everything right. You trusted God. You stayed patient and still lost everything. That pain doesn't scream, it questions. And God does not rebuke you for questioning. He says, even your confusion did not push me away. When trust feels impossible. Trusting God is easy when life is gentle, when blessings flow, when answers come quickly. But trusting God when life has taken everything, that is not religion. That is raw faith. This is the place where many walk away, not because they stopped believing God exists, but because they stopped believing He cares. And God speaks now, not with anger, but with truth. The moment you thought I abandoned you was the moment I was carrying you the closest. God was not absent. He was protecting you. You thought everything was falling apart, but God says, some things had to fall because they were going to destroy you later. What you call loss, God calls intervention. What you call delay, God calls protection. There were doors you begged God to keep open, but behind those doors were dangers you could not see. There were relationships you cried over, but they would have broken you beyond repair. There were plans that failed, but they would have led you away from your purpose. God did not remove things to punish you. He removed them to protect you. But God, it hurt too much. Yes, it hurt. God never denies your pain. He says, protection does not always feel gentle at first. A parent pulls a child away from fire sharply. The child cries, not knowing they were seconds from burning. You were pulled, you were stopped, you were stripped. Not because God is cruel, but because He saw what you couldn't. The moment everything went silent. There was a moment when heaven felt quiet. You prayed, and nothing happened. You waited, and nothing changed. And silence felt like rejection. But God says, silence is not absence. Silence is preparation. When a seed is planted, the soil is silent, but life is happening underneath. Trusting God without evidence. This is where true trust is born, not when prayers are answered, but when they are not. Not when doors open, but when every door closes. You learned to wake up and say, God, I don't understand, but I will still trust you. That sentence alone changed everything. because heaven responds to surrender, not control. You were never unprotected even when you felt exposed, even when you felt vulnerable, even when you felt alone. God says, I was standing between you and what would have destroyed you. You did not see the attacks that never reached you. You did not hear the plans that were canceled. You did not know how many times heaven intervened. But protection does not always announce itself. Sometimes it just removes you from danger quietly. When fear tried to move, in fear whispered, you won't recover. This is the end. God has forgotten you. But God says, fear speaks loudest when it is losing. The enemy wanted you scared because fear weakens trust. But you survived the season you thought would kill you. That alone proves God's hand was on you. The shift begins here. This is where your story changes, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because your faith becomes anchored. You stop trusting outcomes. You start trusting God. You stop asking, why did this happen? And start declaring, God is still with me. That declaration is not small. It is spiritual warfare. Declare this with me. Pause for a moment. Breathe. And say this out loud or in your heart. God is with me, even now, even here, even after everything I lost. My beloved, listen carefully now. God does his deepest work when your life looks the emptiest. Why God allows complete loss? You often asked, God, why didn't you stop it sooner? Why did you let it go this far? Why did you let everything collapse? God answers gently, because partial loss would not have freed you. Some things in your life were not just unnecessary. They were blocking your future. Comfort that kept you small. People that drained your calling. Plans that limited what God wanted to give. If God had removed only a little, you would have held on to the rest. But God needed your hands empty so he could place something new inside them. The painful middle. Where faith is formed this season is called the middle. Not where you were, not where you're going, but the uncomfortable space in between. The middle feels cruel because old doors are closed, new doors are not open yet, and nothing makes sense. This is where many lose faith. But God says, the middle is not punishment. The middle is preparation. You are being reshaped for what comes next. When God removes support, so you learn to lean. There was a moment when you realized, I can't rely on anyone anymore. That realization hurt deeply, but God says, I removed human support so you could discover divine strength. You were depending on people, systems, stability, routine. None of those are wrong, but none of those can carry your soul. So God slowly removed them until only one place remained to lean: Him. Trusting God without feeling Him. This is the hardest part, because faith without feeling feels fake. You prayed but felt nothing. You worshipped but felt empty. You trusted but without confidence. And yet God says, that was the most honest faith you ever had. Faith is not proven by emotion. Faith is proven by obedience when emotion is gone. You kept walking even when joy disappeared. That is powerful. The invisible rebuilding. While you thought nothing was happening, God was rebuilding you from the inside out. Not your situation, not your surroundings, you. He strengthened your discernment. He deepened your compassion. He purified your motives. He broke unhealthy attachments, because the next season of your life requires a stronger version of you. Why God did not explain everything you wanted answers, but God gave silence. Not because He was hiding, but because explanation would not heal you. God says, if I explained everything, you would depend on understanding instead of me. Some lessons can only be learned through trust. The protection you didn't see, you thought you were exposed. But heaven says, you were never uncovered. You didn't see the doors God blocked, the disasters that never happened, the attacks that stopped midway. You were protected even when it felt like abandonment. Protection does not always look like rescue. Sometimes it looks like removal. Why you felt so alone. Loneliness is not proof God left. Loneliness is often proof He is separating you from distractions. God says, I had to quiet the noise so you could finally hear me. When everything went silent, God's voice became clearer. The shift in your heart. Something changed in you during this season. You may not have noticed it at first, but you stopped begging. You stopped chasing. You stopped forcing outcomes. You started surrendering. And surrender unlocks heaven. God was teaching you this truth. Say this slowly, God is good, even when life is not. That truth changed your faith forever, because now your trust is not based on blessings. It is based on God's character. The enemy lost you in this season. The enemy thought loss would destroy you, but God used loss to detach you from fear. Now, you are not easily shaken. You are not easily manipulated. You are not desperate for approval. You survived the worst. That makes you dangerous to darkness. Declare this with me. Pause again and declare, God is with me, even here. Not when everything is fixed, not when everything is clear, but right now. What comes next? A promise. God says, you are not being rebuilt for survival. You are being rebuilt for purpose. This season is not the end. It is the foundation. My beloved child, listen slowly now. This is not the end of your story. This is the revealing of what God was doing all along. Because heaven never empties a life without planning to fill it again. Properly, this time. The moment God begins to restore, restoration does not begin with things. It begins with peace. Before God changes your situation, He changes your inner weather. You may not have noticed, but something already shifted. You worry less. You panic less. You don't chase explanations anymore. That is not weakness. That is trust being established. God says, I had to heal you before I could bless you, because blessings without healing become burdens. Why your future will not look like your past. You fear sometimes. What if life hurts me like that again? God answers clearly. The future I am leading you into cannot be accessed by the old version of you. You are not the same person anymore. The pain matured you. The silence sharpened you. The waiting strengthened you. What broke you once will not break you again, because now you walk with discernment. God did not just save you. He positioned you. You thought you were falling behind, but God says, I was repositioning you quietly. Some paths looked successful, but were spiritually dangerous. Some people looked supportive, but were spiritually draining. God did not just protect you from loss. He protected you from misalignment. Now your steps are slower but surer. Your decisions are quieter but wiser. That is divine growth. The return of peace. Peace does not arrive with fireworks. It comes gently. You wake up one day and your chest does not feel heavy anymore. Your mind is not racing. Your heart is not fighting. And you realize, I'm okay, even without answers. That peace is not from circumstances. That peace is from God Himself. When God restores, He does it differently. God does not restore by giving back the same things. He restores by giving better foundations, stronger faith, healthier relationships, clearer purpose, deeper joy. God says, I do not restore what harmed you. I restore what fulfills you. What returns will not drain you. What comes will not confuse you. The fear that used to control you loses its power. You used to fear loss, rejection, abandonment, failure. But now those fears feel distant because you already survived the worst. Fear only has power over what you haven't faced. You faced it, and you lived. You are no longer easy to shake. Darkness no longer startles you. Not because you are fearless, but because you know who stands with you. God says, "You learned to trust me when everything was gone." That trust cannot be broken. Now when trouble comes, you don't collapse. You pray. You don't panic. You listen. That is spiritual authority. The enemy lost his hold on you. The enemy wanted to use loss to isolate you. Instead, loss freed you. You no longer depend on false security. You no longer bow to fear. Now your strength comes from alignment, not control. That makes you untouchable in ways you don't even realize. What God is bringing next. Hear this carefully. God is not rushing you, but He is moving you forward. Doors will open quietly. Opportunities will feel peaceful, not forced. People will enter your life who do not drain you. They will recognize you. God says, "What I am sending will not compete with your peace." The purpose behind your pain. Your pain was not random. It trained you. You will recognize broken people without judging them. You will speak hope without preaching. You will carry compassion without weakness. God trusted you with suffering because He trusts you with purpose. This is who you are now. You are not bitter. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are refined. You walk slower because you see deeper. You speak less because your words carry weight. You trust differently because now you trust God, not outcomes. God's final word over you. God says, "You are protected. You are guided. You are not late. You are not forgotten." What life took away will never define you. What God taught you through it will protect you forever. Declare this with me. Final declaration. Pause, breathe, and declare with faith, "God is with me. I trust Him with my life." Say it again if you need to. Rest now. You do not need to fight anymore. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to fear the future. God is walking ahead of you. And this time, you are not just surviving. You are becoming.